Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of The Vault of Cult. With your host Chris and...
Mark, you alright?
Yeah, I'm alright, you alright?
I'm pretty alright.
I hope the listeners out there are alright. So guys, yeah, thanks for listening. We love the support, keep it coming. We're getting new listeners all the time. Absolutely love it. And on that note, we are active on the social medias.
We've put toe into the vast sea of social media.
We have.
So if you want to follow us, you can find us on Instagram
At The Vault of Cult. So just search at The Vault of Cult.
And you can find us on the Facebooks.
And that's a Facebook group that is called The Vault of Cult.
It's very easy for you to find. It's literally the name of the show, everybody.
It's not hard, is it? It's not hard. And also, we've got an email address as well. I'll just say that. thevaultofcult@gmail.com. That's thevaultofcult@gmail.com. Get in touch, guys. Feedback is always appreciated.
Yeah. And suggestions, if you'd like
100%.
anything for us to discuss, any film, and we'll, as we've said before, take it very much into consideration.
100%. So thanks for listening, guys. And today's film, Mark, we are discussing...
The Warriors.
The Warriors.
From
1979.
Yes.
And won't blow our load just yet, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Great film.
Well, we'll see. We'll get to discuss whether it's it. But so this week for his beverage for the show, dun dun dun, beverage. Right. It needs a jingle.
No, we do need to get a jingle going.
Right. It's something called Anchor Lager from California. But the reason why this is very cool, given to us by our friend Nick King.
Nick King, hi Nick.
Yeah,
give a shout out.
Nick.
Thanks for the beverage for the show.
Yeah.
Absolutely above and beyond.
But yeah, Nick, he got these for us because this beer are the bottles that were used in the film. Not these exact bottles, but it was this beer.
The brand of beer.
Yeah.
With a famous scene like Warriors come out to play.
Mad scene. We'll get there. But that's the thing. So above and beyond, Nick.
So thank you very much, Nick. And I must say, it's quite nice.
It's very refreshing. It is very nice. Well done, the California Lager. Anchor, founded 1896.
Nice.
There's fun facts for you.
Where's our first fun facts today? So guys, thanks for joining. We hope you enjoy the show. Are you ready, Mark?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
Get going. So guys, as we said, we will be discussing the 1979 film, The Warriors. So Mark, do you want to give us a few of the box office stats?
Yeah. Well, as you already said, it were released in 1979, February 1979, by Paramount Pictures.
Okay.
No less. It had a budget of $4 million.
Tighter.
Yeah.
Low budget.
Yeah, low budget. I mean, nowadays that's no money at all. No money at all. And it made overall $22.5 million.
Decent, though, that.
Yeah.
For a small film, decent.
Well, considering it cost $4 million, I mean, you can't go wrong, really.
Happy days.
With that amount of money
Profit.
that it made. But interestingly enough, it made basically 22.5 of those millions domestically in the US. It made no money at all.
I don't even think maybe it was released in other territories, maybe in a couple of one-off showings in the UK, maybe France and Spain.
Maybe, because, less than $1,000. It was nothing.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I didn't really look into it, but I doubt very highly it was released
elsewhere. Yeah, well, not an international release.
Yeah. And it's got a running time of 92 minutes, which I'll come on to, but hour and a half.
Come on.
You know, it's not a lot of your time to spend on this film. It's an hour and a half.
Yeah, that is a decent chunk. That let's tell a story in 90 minutes. Come on, we'll have some of that.
Yeah. So, who made it then, Chris?
So the film was directed by a really famous director called Walter Hill. Now, just a handful of things he's been involved with. He produced all the Alien films.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. He directed 48 Hours and another 48 Hours, which is like a buddy cop film in the vein of like a Lethal Weapon almost. But
has that got Eddie Murphy?
Murphy and Nick Nolte, yeah.
I think I've seen
They're
it,
not
but
great.
I don't.
They're not great.
I don't remember it, but I think I've seen it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Genuinely, mate, they're really not great. On Red Heat, starring Schwarzenegger. And Brewster's Millions, come on.
Okay.
I like Brewster's Millions.
I don't remember it. I have seen it.
Where he's got to spend so many money in an amount of time. He's got to spend all his money.
I get it. I don't really remember the film, but I have seen it. If
Good
you know
film.
what I mean.
Good film. Film was produced by a gentleman called Lawrence Gordon. Now, we've heard of him before.
Didn't he produce Die Hard?
He did.
And Die Hard 2?
He did. And he produced Predator. 1
and 2?
And he also produced 48 Hours.
Did he?
And he's dabbled in... He produced The Hellboys with Ron Perlman and Tomb Raiders with Angelina Jolie.
Oh.
Mate, really, really famous producer. Producer. And it was written by Walter Hill, the director, and a gentleman called David Schaber. He wrote The Hunt for Red October. Schaber. Hunt for Red October.
Hunt for Red October.
Yes.
I love that.
I know you do.
I love that film.
I know you do.
Oh, I'll have seen his name then, and I've just not put 2 and 2 together.
And he's wrote a film called Nighthawks. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's a Sylvester Stallone film, and he plays a copper, and he goes after terrorists, and the terrorist is... Who's the guy out of Blade Runner, the bad guy out of Blade Runner? Rutger Hauer.
Oh, okay.
Rutger Hauer's like a terrorist. Oh. It's alright, it's a very... Another unique film set in New York, and it's really great cop film.
Does he like set things in New York then?
It's New York, yeah, pretty much. He must be his back garden. Music, which is a really interesting soundtrack by Barry DeVorzen. Now, a few of his soundtracks, one of them was Xanadu, weird fucking film with Olivia Newton-John.
Wasn't the main actor in this? He were in Xanadu, weren't they? Like, the guy who plays Swan.
What, Michael Beck?
Yeah.
What is he in Xanadu?
Is it with Olivia Newton? I can't remember Xanadu.
It's a weird fucking film. Yeah. Olivia Newton-John, of that there.
Grease fame. And no other fame.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, she got physical one time and everyone remembers that.
Quite, yeah.
That song, Let's Get Physical.
That's true. He also did the score for a film called another cult film called Night of the Creeps. I don't know if you've seen it.
I have not.
Really good. I've got it. You should watch it sometime.
Okay.
And The Exorcist Part 3, which is a really odd film.
Not my thing.
No, you're not into horror.
But... Okay.
Yeah.
I know the name, The Exorcist. I know it by reputation.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the first one's obviously a stone cold classic, but The Exorcist 3 it's strange. Anyway, let's move on to the cast. So obviously, Michael Beck played Swan.
Mm-hmm. Never seen him in anything else except that Xanadu.
Yeah, James Remar plays Ajax. Now he's in loads of stuff. He's a really well-known character actor around Hollywood. He literally pops up in all the big TV shows. Every now and again you see him in a big film. And Deborah Valkenburg, who played the prostitute Mercer. She joins halfway through the film. Marcelino Sanchez plays Rembrandt, who's supposed to be like the tagger.
Yeah,
with his graffiti.
They called him Rembrandt. I like that. Yeah, I'll come on to it, but I like the character. But they called him Rembrandt because he's the tagger, so therefore the artist. And the scene where he has to do one piece of art and shittest W in the world, just this W of graffiti, and you're like, what kind of tag is that? All right, yes, a real Rembrandt. Yeah. Or are they just joking? Like, oh, we'll call him Rembrandt because he's shit at art.
Yeah, I like that. I like that irony. Yeah. They play an irony, you know. David Harris played Cochise. David Patrick Kelly played Luther. Now, I've got stuff to say about his character. So basically,
ludicrous.
He plays it really like crazy.
We'll come to him.
And he's been in loads of things. He was in Commando. He gets hanged over when.
Yeah.
He's in Commando.
There is another film now.
He's in Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks, thank you.
He's in Twin Peaks.
Yeah, that's the thing.
He plays, like, there's like a... I'm kind of getting off topic now, but in Twin Peaks he plays the brother of the guy that owns, like, the lodge. You know, the big lodge, where it's like an hotel, basically. And Roger Hill played the character called Cyrus. And I thought another character in the film I should mention is the radio DJ. And she was played... That lady who played, that was called Lynn Thigpen.
Ling Thigpen or something like that.
Lynn Thigpen.
Yeah, it's a tongue twister.
It is a little bit. Yeah, I'm struggling to get out there. If I'm honest, that's why I said it like 3 times.
She had a part in like a sort of semi-cartoony kind of thing, Carmen San Diego.
I remember that.
And she were like the police woman who give them their job. For that,
this is your mission this week?
I guess so.
Oh,
okay. And that were it. I've stuff to say about her anyway.
I like that character in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's pretty much the main cast covered there, dude.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and Cyrus obviously is like the leader of how the story kicks off. But we'll get to that. So a few facts and figures before moving on to them. I will talk about the synopsis of the film. So basically, guys, if someone said, what is The Warriors about? I would say to them, the film centres on the titular fictitious New York City street gang who must make an urban journey of around about 30 miles from the north end of the Bronx to their home turf in Coney Island in southern Brooklyn. Bit of a distance, that.
Well,
Really?
yeah.
Bit of a distance.
They have to cross the whole of
New York.
They have to cross the whole of New York, moving
Pretty
from
much.
what it looks like in the film, the north of the city to the
south.
bottom. Because that's the thing. I've so much to say about that. How it's framed as a great journey. It's such it's a long distance, but also a short distance and arduous. Yeah.
Because they have to do that because they are framed for the murder of a suspected gang leader.
Yeah. They're framed for the murder, basically, of the
leader of the leader of the gang.
The gang, not just a gang.
The gangs.
All of them. He's
all of
king
them.
at gangs.
King at gang. Oh,
king at gangs.
King at gangs. Like I say, let's move on to facts and figures. The story is based on a book by a gentleman called Sol Uric from 1965. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Apparently the film's very different.
Apparently it is. Apparently the children are very, very young people.
Totally different story as well.
Yeah.
It's just the bare bones of an idea of a gang getting from one place to another.
Yeah, basically. And this lot who made the film decided to take that bare bones of a thing and run with it wild. Run wild.
Do what you want.
Do what you want. And
so,
they do.
And another interesting fact, guys, is the weekend after it was released, there were breakouts of vandalism and 3 people were murdered. So, Paramount Pictures, right, decided to remove their advertising material from cinemas and TV because of that. You know, it was basically the inciting gang violence, basically, and people were murdered.
I bet you the fucking pearl clutchers. You know,
and they only and then it was only 2 weeks later they went, oh, we're going to start re-promoting it. So they give a shit that much, didn't they?
Yeah.
But anyway, they can't be blamed for actual violence because it's movie violence. But that's another show, guys. But apparently, Paramount really hated the film and had no faith in it before it was released. Like, fuck off, we're not interested.
I mean, we'll come on to it, I'm sure, but I can see why an executive who literally that is the bottom line for them at the end of the day would look at that and think, what a weird film. Because you know studio executives, the corporate types, I'm sure many of them are lovely, but they possess absolutely zero imagination. None at all.
It's a business.
And at the end of the day, I can see why they'd look at that and think, risky, weird,
what's this weird little thing?
Off-brand, what is it? What is it? We thought you were doing a thing about gangs, which is about gangs, but it's so unlike any other thing you'd watch about a gang.
Yeah. It is. That's a really interesting theme of the film as well, isn't it? It's its own thing. It's unique. Again, it was slammed by critics at release, but weirdly enough, now it's got it's a very
mate. This is the sort of thing that we here don't necessarily notice what's going to be a cult film from our generation, what's happening now, and I think it's one of those things. Critics would have looked at that film and thought, oh, just silly, contrived, especially with everything else that was coming out, especially about New York and all that. It was all gritty and dark and like with criminal undertones, and this is happy and light with a criminal undertone. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't call it happy and light.
Happy and light, but it's. Do you know what?
It's not dark.
I described this film yesterday to someone. I said, what I reckon the age rating for it, you'd get away with 12 these days.
You would.
I think you'd get away with a 12.
You'd absolutely
and that
get
goes
away
to
with
show
a 12.
The content and the tone of the film.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's such a great film.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, we'll come on to it. There's just one other thing that I really wanted to bring up.
Go on.
It's about what genre it kind of is.
Okay.
Because, we've been asked a few times when people have found out, when they've said, because we won't tell any of you, as you know, what the film is, but they'll be like, what genre? And I think both of us have gone, don't really know. And I find that interesting.
Yeah.
Because basically, I came into this blind, listeners. I had no idea. I had never seen this film. And it was recommended, and Chris was like, oh, yes, definitely. And I never saw it before. And I just had a feeling that I didn't want to look into it. I didn't want to ruin it for myself.
Is it a film that you were
I didn't even know. I'd never even really heard of it.
Okay.
I'd never come across my radar at all. So I just went, right, I don't want to look into anything about it. I'll just go and watch it.
Okay.
And you'd said to me, it's a gang film, and I was saying this to you earlier.
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself,
because I didn't know how to describe it to you.
Well, here we go. It's going to be a dark and gritty sort of gangland thing, and it is. I suppose it is dark in its way.
Because most of it's set at night.
That being the main thing, that is literally dark. But
but it is. I think that is a character within the film.
But I wouldn't call it gritty.
No, it's not.
I was surprised by that. I was surprised what the film is. And do you know what it is? It's an epic, almost piece of fantasy, is what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's a Greek epic.
It's a
as
film
well.
that has
That's
things
what it is.
going on.
Yeah. But what it is, and I just wanted to say, it's a Greek epic.
It is.
Because right at the beginning, they reference a group of Greek warriors caught in the middle of Persian territory, and it's referencing a thing called the 10,000, which is 10,000 Greek soldiers are in the middle of Persia, and they were fighting for the right to the throne of a potential emperor of Persia, Cyrus the Younger.
Okay.
Cyrus is killed fighting his uncle Artaxerxes, who actually wins the throne. And they are caught in the middle of Persia, and they have to get all the way back home to Greece. It's not Greece, they want to get to Byzantium. And they march all the way to the Black Sea, and when they get there, they say, Thalassa, the sea, I'm home. And he literally says at the end of this film, nearly the end, I know I'm home when we're by the ocean.
Come on.
It's literally what it is. It's a Greek epic.
Yeah, it is.
This film is a Greek epic. It's not a dark and gritty.
No.
Let's get to grips with New York gang culture in the late 1970s. This is the Greek. This is the Odyssey.
Yeah.
That's why it is, and I just wanted to bring that up.
No, I agree. I see it. Yeah, I see it. I see that.
It's even got sirens, the female gang that come into it. They literally lure them in with their feminine wiles, and absolutely no lesbian undertones at all.
None at all.
Right? No, come this way, watch us snog. That's basically what they've done. Brought them in and like titillated them to kill them. It's the sirens to lure the sailors onto the rocks.
On their journey.
Yeah, to lure them off the path.
No, they're not having that.
No, exactly.
Not having it at all.
And just as another thing, just one tiny little thing, the leader of the Greek warriors is called Xenophon, and it sounds like swan, which Swan.
Like that. They've just
and I don't know whether that's the reason or whether that's just totally an accident. But there you go.
Who knows?
There you go.
Who knows? It's still quite interesting to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
So Matt, let's discuss things we like, things we don't. Again, before you watched the film, I was, and you know, it was a film we was discussing on doing the show.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like so interested in hearing your thoughts and opinions.
Yeah.
On it. So I'm going to let you off the leash.
Well,
smash me about the chops. Give me some.
Firstly,
give me some
something that I really liked about it. The length. I miss films this long.
Mate, we've said this before.
I know we've said it before, but I miss films this long. An hour and a half.
This proves our point. A film like this proves our point.
92 minutes. 92 minutes. I've got an hour and a half. I'm a busy person. I've come home. I want to watch something. Have I got nearly 3 hours? Over 2 hours, sometimes getting awfully close to that. Awfully close to 2.5, some of them. And you're just like, how much do you think I've got to devote movie industry? Then, back then, in particular, they used to make films that were long enough for you to watch without just being fatigued or thinking I'll pause it there. You shouldn't have to. This isn't the 1960s. I don't need an intermission.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to have to pause it and come back to it the next day or whatever. I want to just watch a film.
Bish bash bosh, entertain me.
Because, like, you start this at 8 o'clock, you finished it by 9:30. You could fit something else in before you've got to go to bed and go to sleep. Yeah. I don't know. Do not things that normal people do. Yeah. You know, cook a bit of something to eat, ignore your missus for a bit, you know.
These things happen.
Whatever you got to do.
Yeah, no, it is again, what's wrong with it?
And I just wanted to say that as unequivocally something I like. Work on it, movie industry. Cut yourself down a bit.
We say it all the time. It's one of the things that gets our goal big time. Run times.
Yeah. I really liked the cast as well.
Really good cast. That chemistry and that you feel like the brothers, they're in it together. They're a team.
That's one of the themes that I've put of it. Brotherhood.
Brotherhood, yeah.
Brotherhood.
Yeah.
I put themes of brotherhood, belonging, leadership, loyalty, and with a nod to class. With a nod to class right at the end.
Reputation as well.
Reputation's a big one. But I really like the cast.
That's what I'm saying. There's things going on in this film.
Who do I really like? I really liked Cyrus. Ludicrous. Oh. In fact, before I talk about anyone particular, they're all of them. Hammy.
Yeah.
Fucking. If it were a negative, and you just said they were hammy, people from fucking Hollyoaks would be going up to him saying, "Tone it down, love. Tone it down."
100%.
But it works. It works in the tone of the film.
It does.
Cyrus.
It doesn't seem silly. It doesn't come across as silly.
All the gangs come together and they meet at this thing
at the beginning.
Conclave. Another Greek word, by the way. Let me just say.
Okay.
And Cyrus, a Greco-Persian name itself. Yeah. Anyway, and he stands there like a religious leader, and he's there. Can you dig it? Ludicrous scene, and it's
can you dig it?
Hammy. Fucking ham it up. There's ham everywhere.
I love that line.
His dead body isn't getting taken away in a hearse. It's getting taken away in a butcher's van. It's ham it, but I love it. I absolutely love it. And
do you know the first thing he says? Can you count?
Yeah.
And then he goes on like these there's 20,000 of us here, and then there's another 20,000 affiliate gangs, and then there's another 20,000.
And his message is basically we're more than the police.
And he says the police, there's only 20,000 of them, and there's 60,000 of us. And can you dig it?
Yeah, I tell you what it is. It's like a manic preacher crossed with a Greek leader, but also it's a bit Martin Luther King Jr. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like. I have a dream, and
right.
Can you dig it? It's very that. It's a religious preacher.
I've got ideas.
Civil rights activist. It's ancient Greek king. Yeah. It's weird, and it's almost like through the hamminess they're channeling all that. And I think all of the cast are kind of like that. All of this cast understood intrinsically the part that they were there to play, and they were there to play it. There were no one, like we discussed the Eternals, and it's like, well, you were there to collect your paycheck,
100%.
weren't you? They went there to do acting things, and do they overact? Oh yeah,
100%.
Like our villain. What's the character's name?
The character's Luther. Yeah.
Ludicrous.
Wow.
Ludicrous.
He's got this weird voice.
Yeah, what's that bit? It was then. It was the warriors.
So this Luther guy, he shoots this Cyrus, and then blames it on one of the warriors.
Yeah. He blames it on. Well, he blames it on one of the warriors.
It was the warriors.
But he's the leader, isn't he? The guy with the turban at the beginning, Cleo. Yeah. Weird, strangest death scene I've ever seen in my life. They literally elbow him to death. Guys, bang, bang. Yeah, it's so strange. He died by death of 1,000 elbows.
Oh, ouch.
It was that guy. Warriors. But yeah, the villain, it was like, it was them, it was the warriors. And you just think to yourself, wow, fucking tone it down. Yeah. But also, don't tone it down. Keep doing it.
Yeah. I don't know if I like it, but keep doing it.
Yeah, I don't. Do that again. Yeah. And he does. He plays the whole film like that. Right at the fucking end.
Yeah.
When his gang... what he thinks corners the Warriors under that bridge, and he clacks together the bottles of the beer that we're drinking
at the minute,
and he, Warriors
come
out to play, and he literally clacks them together.
Yeah,
like,
just making that noise, isn't it?
And you're like, ludicrous.
Improvised, totally
it was apparently improvised, and
he improvised that.
I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Carry on that. Carry on that. I'm totally with the director. I bet you the director were like, he's off his head. Let him go on that. Let him carry on.
Put the camera on. Turn the camera on. Turn the camera on.
Does he know he's being filmed now? Does he know? He done? Don't tell him.
Yeah, don't tell him.
Don't tell him.
We'll have that. It's going in the film.
Yeah. But yeah, so even the ancillary cast, I like all of the other gang members.
To the mime
so
eyes at the beginning. I know.
There's a mime gang in New York. There's a baseball one. They come into the film like properly, like they're one of the ones that will chase the Warriors through their turf, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, so distinct. Each of them has their own distinct visual style. Like the villains gangs, Luther's gang, they're a bit biker-ish. You know what I mean? And now they look. I mean, to be fair, now looking at it, they all look. The whole conclave looks like everyone's turned up for a fucking Village People convention. There's people dressed as Indian. One of the Warriors is dressed as an Indian.
Yeah.
And
it's the costumes and stuff are of a time.
I love it though.
When you watch
it's so
like,
colourful and bright and ludicrous.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, this is why I think it's got more to do with a fantasy than it has to do with like a gritty gang thing.
It's not that.
Literally, all these gangs turn up, and it might one of them. It's not that different from any fantasy thing, like in Lord of the Rings when a group of elves appear at the council, a group of dwarves, and they're all together in there looking like dwarves looking like elves and looking like men. You know,
again, I think there's a theme of identity again, and I think, like you're saying, it's there. And then I want to touch on it a little bit about race as well in the film, because it's you get in it's sending a message for me in this film that it doesn't matter as long as you're part of something.
Well,
and you could be a little bit awkward, not as strong as someone else, or you could be black, or you could be white.
Well, I tell you what, it's like almost like in this gang, in each gang, it's almost like saying there's a sense of belonging here.
Yeah.
And what I like the Warriors themselves, each of them has their own role.
Yeah. And they are a gang of white and black guys.
Yeah,
and it's as
I think that's it. But one of them, the character name is literally Snow, and you're like, that's on the one of the black lads.
Yeah,
it's called Snow, and you're like, hilarious race joke there, guys.
It is 1978.
But you know, again, 1978. But I like how each of the characters interact.
You believe they're a gang.
Yeah, even though, well, you believe that. Yeah, they are a proper gang.
Together.
And all of them are. So I like the whole, not just the ensemble cast, but I like even the background characters. Effort was made on a relatively small budget.
Again,
effort was made. They got all the extras in. Mate, it's really good. It's really something.
Again, I think as well within the main group of the gang we follow in, the Warriors. You know, I think each character gets a moment to shine as well.
I would say so.
Definitely.
Like, I really like the interaction right at the beginning after Cyrus has been shot and they run away and they're in the graveyard, and it's like he's the war chief.
Yeah.
The last guy made him basically second in command, so he's in charge. And Ajax, another Greek name by the way, he's challenging it because he thinks he's the strong one. He thinks he's the hard one, and it's literally it's that old dynamic of. But the king is dead. Who is going to be the king? And is it the heir apparent, or is it the young usurper?
Yeah,
mate, these are old themes. This is old themes of storytelling.
I think this is why I wanted to do a show about it, because we can deep dive in these things. Again, I've said it before in the show already, that there's things going on.
Power struggle. I like that Snow asserts himself calmly. He's a very calm character. I like Snow. all the way through. I like him. I'm with him. He's deadpan. Deadpan as fuck.
No emotion.
Shows absolutely no emotion. But he wanted to play it like that. I can tell. It's not just that he's a shit actor.
Yeah.
It's because he wanted to play it like that. And that Ajax trying to struggle for power within
straight away, like you say,
straight away, and carries it on pretty much, because he's always first to criticise.
Yeah, he does
as well.
Yeah.
So he plays it really well. It's his leader and his, well, they call it the Lancer character, the second in command, the one that's always there to drive the main character forward. And that's what that Ajax is. He's literally like, can't you do it? Yeah.
I can do it better, but can you though?
But no, yeah. So I like the whole ensemble cast. I like everything about that. I liked the opening scene as well. You know, where they're on the train and it's cutting between
all the other gangs on the move, and then them talking like, so what we're going to do when we get there, and this is for the greater good.
I like that they focus on the map.
Yeah,
they literally the film tells you we've gone from here, the point to the bottom of the map, to the top of the map. Yeah. And do you know what? Again, that reminded me of a fantasy map at the beginning of a fantasy book.
Yeah,
they're literally, this is the world we're doing it, and it's of the New York City subway system. Yeah. Genius, brilliant.
The subway is a character. I think
the subway is
it's a character within the film. And the transport and the chase to get away quick.
Genius. Yeah. I thought that were absolutely genius, and that cutting to just take away conversations. We know we've got the setup at the plot right at the beginning. We go into this conclave because they're all telling each other, and they're like, What do you think about this Cyrus character? Oh, I think it's a good idea. I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
What would happen if this truce breaks? Are we safe going all the way up there? And it would turn out, no, you weren't. Yeah. You weren't. Brilliant. You imparted information in a visually interesting way by cutting to conversations to dump a bit of exposition onto us, and themically showing what the thing's about. We're moving from here to here.
But this is again, and this is an example of a film.
I know that might sound a bit douchey, but that I think was really good film.
No, again, we're giving you're giving it the information to the audience in a visual thing, and you're feeding it, and you're taking it at face value. But you can also go, I'm seeing what you're doing there. You're planting the seeds, bang, 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 bang. Here we go. Now we're off. We're getting in the first, like you say, the first 5-10 minutes. You know that's it now. I mean. Yeah, what's going on? Why it's going on?
And you know when it all kicks off that they've been framed for that, and they've got why they've got to run as well. And I tell you what, this story is streamlined.
Yeah, 100%.
There is no such thing as a plot cul-de-sac in this thing. Everything that happens is driving the plot in one way. And I'll come on to what I think about that in a second.
But I mean, even what the dialogue again? You've got. I was like, it's a bit cringy and a bit hammy, but I don't really necessarily say that's a bad thing about it. I mean, it does.
I do like that, but if it's not your thing, if you could just squint slightly, just look past it.
Yeah,
I've very much noticed that if you could just look past a slightly too hammy given line. And just think there's gold beyond that. There's absolute gold beyond that.
There is.
Yeah, and I like that it didn't linger on anything. Even a weird moment. You know, Ajax, when he meets a woman in the park.
Yeah, the copper.
Yeah, and he tries to force himself on her, really.
Yeah.
And it's weird.
Straight away, they're having a small conversation, and he dies.
And then he's straight on it, and that's awful. But then again,
I think that's a character trait that was very he's very quick to make it.
It's supposed to be that. I don't hate it for what it's doing in the story. I have to say it's a bit cringy looking at it in 2021, but 22. Sorry, we have had a new year.
We're in the new year.
But also, what she does as well, by the way, just as a fun fact, is 100% an entrapment, and she would not be allowed to. He would not be prosecuted. That's just a fact, because they would have to let him go. That's entrapment. what the policewoman does.
What? It's like giving him the
She literally lays a trap for him. He wasn't doing anything he shouldn't have been doing.
That's
and
true.
she caused
They
him
were just walking past.
If you are the cause of him to do something, as a police officer, you can't arrest them for that. It needs to be another officer to come and arrest. She has entrapped it. I know I'm going to sound like a right misogynist. Like, she entrapped him no, but she's a copper. I'm not talking about the fact she's a woman. She's a copper. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just facts there. 1979 wasn't really a thing.
Yeah. Again, of its
But
time.
even so, even with that weird scene, okay, we've had a weird scene. He don't go back to Ajax once he is arrested by her. Gone. Out of the film.
Not all of them make it home as well.
Not all of them make it. There's that Fox.
Yeah, he gets killed.
Yeah, gets thrown in front of a train.
Deaded.
Yeah.
By a copper.
Yeah.
That's a scrap with a copper.
Do you know why they killed him off? Or not why they killed him off?
Something to do with the actor.
Yeah, the actor were pissing him off, so they basically said they'll kill you off. So
They did?
They did, but he didn't turn up to work that day, so it's an extra playing him the moment that he's thrown in front of the thing.
In front of the train.
Yeah, in front of the train, yeah, exactly. But I like that. This film knows it ain't got time to waste. It's got an hour and a half and it ain't got time to waste. They've been arrested, they're gone. They're gone. Now, we're following the main group.
Yeah, the journey continues with whoever's left.
And I like that. I like it don't linger on any of that.
No, it's very. I think it's tight.
And yeah,
it's
exactly.
a tight script. I think
Yeah.
In terms of dialogue, I think the script is fine. It's fine, but it's tight, hour and a half.
Yeah.
And it's there's no lulls. It's just full steam ahead.
Yeah, exactly. It's literally everything that's happening is pushing the plot forward.
It's driven.
Like, even when it's not the villain, is the leader of the gang that's organising all of this. Is
Cyrus?
No, the
Luther.
black. No,
the other guy.
The
the
Riffs.
leader of the Riffs.
Thank you.
The black.
The one who's actually, they're quite clearly the most powerful gang, and they're sort of ordering the other gangs they're passing through your turf. You get them. Yeah, and I have to say,
with the radio DJ, this is how
they announce it with the radio DJ. Mate, what fucking brilliant.
You only see her lips.
You only see her lips, and she talks in that, well, listeners, kind of...
The Warriors.
Yeah.
Are you listening, you groovy cats? It's one of them, isn't it?
It's so crazy, so 1970s, and you just see her lips,
like a blurry red background.
Yeah, smoky room, like, oh, wow, how cool. But then the songs, I really like the songs that they put on. For one thing, the bangers, for a start, but...
They relate to that part of the story. They relate
to that part of the story, and it's almost like a musical accompaniment to the opening of the beginning act. And do you know what she is? She's the Greek chorus that will literally do that. They'd sing a song before they started the thing. They'd sing a song or give you an exposition. What's going to happen now? She's
like singing the plot.
It's Greek epic. Is this? I know I keep coming back to it, but it's there.
But it is. It just is.
And it's so good. Bopping soundtrack.
Soundtrack is good. Well, actually, you started to listen to it.
Yes, I did. I was listening to it. I can't remember the name of the song. I've watched the film once, but it was like the main.
But it's
theme.
it's obviously had an impact.
Yeah.
The soundtrack.
You know what were it? The Nowhere to Run, Nowhere to Hide.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Really cool. Really, really cool. And also, each area they pass through is almost like it's controlled by a different gang.
Yeah.
And the Riffs are basically ordering them to capture.
If you see these, get them.
And I liked how it's almost like game levels. Like, you're moving up. You start with the orphans, who are the first main group that they come up against some other.
And they're just like, don't come round here. And then they talk, oh yeah, you can pass through.
But again, you know where he said the orphans, one with lazy eye, one lad who's like one eye looking at you, the other one looking for you.
Yeah.
Like
one eye in Brighton, one eye in Iton.
Yeah. He says, take off your colours.
Yeah, and you can go through, yeah.
Mate, I know I'm going to bring it up again, but in the literal Greek story, they actually go, if you surrender all of your arms and colours to us, you can pass through.
Yeah.
And they say no. and the Warriors say no as well. Yeah,
and that's where they meet Mercer. That's where she comes into it.
Yeah, I was a bit baffled by her character at first. I thought I got her, but I was a little confused why she ended up coming along with them. You know, after
she was a guide, wasn't she?
Yeah, she is it. She is your guide through it.
She's the guide.
Which is another thing. Like, the whole thing made me think of a game, and like very often in a game, you'd get this.
You get a
ethereal guide
each time you come across. They're a bit harder than the last guy.
Yeah, it's really cool. Each one gets a bit harder, each with a visual style. Your shit orphans who are dressed shit, and then you've got your baseball fans, that weirdness.
Yeah.
But when they're chasing them through the
Furies.
Yeah, baseball Furies. When they're chasing them into the park and they have the fight with the baseball bats, that's not a fight with baseball bats. That's basically framed like a sword fight. Literally,
he's balletic in it almost. Yeah. It's it's choreographed.
Yeah.
To an extent, and it does. It does it. It shows it in slow motion. The fights. Do you notice that?
Yeah, and literally, there's close up of them like swinging their bats in a very swordsman-like, and it's literally a sword fight at moonlight.
And do you know what I liked about it as well? In them fight scenes, it shows like the Warriors, they're a tough gang.
Yeah, they're warriors.
Does what it says on the jacket.
Yeah, but they've clearly been together a long time of our Warriors, and they've been fighting together for a very long time.
And do you know what? At no point, did they go out looking for trouble? They're just like, we just want to get home, and whatever comes our way, we just got to fucking deal with.
Yeah, no, I know
just
exactly.
Want to get home. And it's only until halfway through the film that they realise that they've been framed.
Yeah, they don't know.
They don't even know. They're just like, why is everyone fucking? And then the penny drops and it gets explained to them, like, well, did you know that you've been blamed for the murder of fucking Cyrus? And they're like, what? Yeah. Oh, right, fuck, now we need to get home.
Yeah.
Because then they realise...
Because they only find out, or a group of them only find out after they've been to the ladies, who I've already mentioned, the Lizzies, they pass through theirs. Now, I bet you that was... Nowadays, it's like, oh, okay, there's the group of... You know what I mean? I bet in 1979, that'd been like... Yeah. That people wouldn't have necessarily been expecting that. They'd have been like, oh, they're just...
The only female group in the film, though.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, but it's 1979. But, yeah, they find out after they've been to the Sirens for a little while, the Lizzies, what they call them. Yeah, they find out, that's when they find out, isn't it?
That's when they get told that.
Yeah.
Did you know that you murdered... No, we never murdered anyone. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, thanks for telling us.
Cheers. But yeah, I liked how everyone had their own moment to shine. I love the soundtrack, the DJ. It were great. What did you like about it? Because I forget just quickly.
I like you say. I think it's a film I remembered for. I've watched it a long, long time ago. The first time I watched it, it had a big impact on me. I just feel like it's one of those. One, I would put it in the bracket of a cult. This is a stone cold cult film. A film that was obscure at the time, but obviously found its voice. And I think you could put it on lists, mate. This film, you could put it on lists. Especially, I would stick it in maybe the top 25 best cult films ever made. Definitely in the top 25, 100%.
I think that. It's so culty.
It serves the cult tag.
It is cult. This is one of the first ones I suppose we've done where it's like that's a genuine cult film, and so culty that like I barely spoke to anyone who knows it, except the few people who do and recommended it to us. Nick. Nick. I know Nick, who provided beverage for the show today. Thanks, Nick. Really appreciate it. Really nice. I've drank one bottle. It's all gone. You still got half of yours. Yeah. Nick's a big fan. I mean, I'm a fan. And when Nick suggested it to me a while ago, it stuck in my mind to go, I want that. And then when I talk to you about it, I was like, I've never seen it. I'm like, wow, mate, you need to see this film. Mate, You were good. You didn't tell me a thing about it either. You just was like,
go in,
gangs, New York, go on an adventure. Yeah. Okay, fine. And then just watched it, and well, I think you can tell listeners that I had stuff to say, and I think you can probably tell the tone of what.
But again, it's one of them where you can just sit and switch off and just breezy hour and a half, just have it in the background, or you can sit there and proper deep dive with it like we are today and say these things. Again, I know I've said it about 5 or 6 times, guys, but truly, if you've not seen this film, it's one of them films where just watch it. Just watch it. Go out and seek it out and watch it.
This deserves a little bit more limelight than I certainly do now.
But the thing is, as well, it's one of them that people that do appreciate it, really appreciate it. Again, that's why it's a cult. That's why, again, what constitutes a cult film, something like this.
Yeah.
Where it's a one and done, and it's its own thing. And again, where you can't pigeonhole it. It's got a very heavy Greek mythology undertone. Not even undertone. It's just in your face.
It's not an undertone. It's just it's the tone. It's the tone.
Yeah. But wrapped in for that time.
Yeah, but wrapped in its own. The history of 1979 and the kind of the cultural iconography of the late 70s.
Again, again, New York is a character of the film. The train system is a character of the film.
And the subway.
The graffiti is heavily used in the film.
Well, I noticed that.
And that was New York. New York was a shithole at that time, and it was dirty. It was grimy.
Huge crime.
Huge. Like, this is before New York sold everything and become corporate, sold everything to big businesses and become corporate. New
York's smartened itself up a little bit, and for positive and for negative.
100%.
It's tonally a different kind of city now. But then lots of places are Liverpool, Manchester, and Leeds, and they're tonally different places now.
But it's got a lot. Again, I've always realised that this film has a lot going for it. But I just think as an enjoyable 90-minute ride, enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Get on board and enjoy yourself.
Just let it take you on a ride. Yeah. It will literally take you on a journey.
Hopefully, people who haven't seen it and listen to this show, hopefully we can give them a bit of appreciation and kind of give them a stepping stone into maybe a way of looking at the film they might have not thought of if they just went in blind before. Or
I think a lot of people will look at this film and be like, because I did think it was like, wow, it's the most 70s thing I've ever seen.
You did say that to me, yeah.
Wow, the 70s. Like, I think a lot of people look at that and think, oh, it's daft and it's so 70s and can you dig it, and ludicrous overacting. They'll look just at that surface, whereas if you just peel ever so slightly, just a little bit, just a corner away, it'll blow your mind with the amount of depth and intricacy and 100%. Thought and genuine. Like there's no moment where I was like, tone weird. It sets its tone. Yeah. It's weird. Like you know what I mean. I weren't like, this is a weird tone. I was like, this is a weird tone.
Yeah.
But I like it.
It's a tone that you can go with.
Just whatever it is, I think about the thing that's bothering about you, just have another look. If you don't like it, then just try to think, all right, but putting the hamminess to one side for a minute, just
and don't
have
get me wrong,
look.
I get that it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. I get that.
I mean, so having said that, is there anything that you weren't so keen on? Is there anything really that bothered you?
Again, I think the script/screenplay could be slightly better. It's a touch cliche, but I think that is just because that's the way it was written.
Yeah, it is a touch cliche, and it is
misogyny. There's
a hint of it in a way that it wouldn't get. No film would get away with it now.
And you said you don't think a film would get made like
it wouldn't get made. I'm quite sure that this film could not be made after about 1983, 1984, when at the height of, because that's the height of like conservative backlash in
America.
World. Not just in here as well, all over the world. Like that arty, try new things of the 60s and 70s were coming to an end. We wanted things that were reassuring in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Like So it couldn't be made now, and I don't think we're out of that. We wanted reassuring bit. I don't think we've come out of it yet. We haven't got really...
Yeah, there's no dangerous films, you know what I mean by that?
Yeah,
you know,
and
there's no dangerous films being made anymore.
This were a risk. I mean, it didn't cost a lot of money, but were a risk.
The studio didn't want to support it, yeah. They didn't want to support it at the beginning.
You know what I mean?
And it caused fucking murders. People were murdered at screenings.
And I have to say, we have to acknowledge that it could be said by some people, basically people who haven't watched it, the Mary Whitehouses of this world. Off. I'm sure she'd have involved herself if she knew anything about it, right? Could it be said to glorify, in massive inverted commas, gang culture? I don't think so. I don't personally, but. Joanne and Cletus in Middle America.
And don't you think it's strange that you only see a gun from a woman?
I do think that's very strange.
None of the gangs carry guns.
No, they've all got knives and baseball bat knives. Well, no, you see a gun right at the beginning, and Luther's got it.
But like how the scarcity of guns, and it's about gangs. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and that's in America time as well. Of all places.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I find that interesting. A little interesting.
I think because basically they'll say. Oh, it's a violent film. It's not terribly violent film. It passes as 12 nowadays. It's not that violent. I've seen worse violence. In any of your Common or Garden fucking Avengers film, I've seen worse violence there. It's stylized violence as well.
It's not violent.
Even like we're on about the baseball bat fight. It's choreographed. It's ballyish, and it's done like a sword fight, which I'm sorry your child would see on a cartoon that you're perfectly happy to have them watch because that's unthreatening because it's animated. Yeah. I don't agree, but it could be said by people who haven't watched it and have no intention to give a shit that it could be seen as that. And I think because it caused a little bit of a brouhaha, it has to be acknowledged.
Yeah, and even the poster, the theatrical poster, it's just all like gangs on the front.
Yeah. They're a little heavy on the use of the faggot for my taste.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah.
But again, I can't really knock it. Again, I can't really knock it down. I can knock it down. It was if it's wrong now, it was wrong then.
Yeah,
I can knock it down. Agree. But also, I have to acknowledge. I'm an historian. I have to acknowledge that it was 1979, and I can't say to people in 1979. I can say you were wrong, but I can't say that you should have known because you didn't know. Okay. That it was wrong.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's not fair.
No, yeah.
So it annoyed me a little bit. I was like, oh, what, have you turned faggot or something? And I was just like, okay, shut up.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's 1979. The weird misogyny, the entrapment scene. Well, it's not that I weren't a fan of it. I was just like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, like, okay.
And tonally weird thing. But that's really it. That I didn't really like. Like I say, everything else I saw positives.
Yeah.
Everywhere I looked, and I had to search. For negatives. I'm reaching with the tone because it does kind of fit with the tone.
It does.
And it's in character, and it's in character for that Ajax thing. So is it tonally weird if it's in character? Okay, I found it a little tonally weird.
That's just because we're looking at it in 2020 view, aren't we? To go, okay, like you're just leaping on a woman, like you don't do that. But again, that character that time, is it excusable? Not really. No, I don't. But I'm accepting it for what it is.
But they didn't know that what he was behaving like. Well, they did know it was.
But again, maybe that's where we're supposed to think. Is it the character or is it the situation? Is it the character?
I think it's in character.
I think so. I think it's that character's just a bit of a douche.
Look, listeners, it's not there.
There you go.
It's not
decide for
there.
yourselves. Watch it.
It's not there.
Watch the film.
It's a bit hasn't got a lot to say for women's rights.
Not really.
And it's a bloke's film. It's a bloke's
100%.
film. 100%. And I have to say this is a bit gay as well.
There is camp elements.
It's a bit gay. It's a bit camp, and I mean, they look like they're dressing up as the village people. I keep coming back to that.
If you've never seen it, guys, yeah, you will. And you give it a watch, you'll know exactly what we mean.
You know, these are literally macho men.
Yeah, like they're going down the gay disco.
Yeah, again, if it's not your cup of tea, fine, but it's not there.
Yeah, yeah, they are the Starlight Express kind of thing. But again, you know, I think going back to what I like about the film, even because it was 1979, a little obscure film, and the reason why it's had such a big impact culture is because, you know, it's had merchandise, there's action figures been made, there's been computer games, there's...
Well, I looked it up because, again, you know, I'll have seen it, but not really registered it. A very well regarded game.
I've swear I never played it. But looking at reviews, I was like, oh, they really well reviewed this game.
Yeah, before I were really into gaming, so I'd never played it, but I think I might.
Yeah, I'm curious.
I think I might, and it's on various stores, and you can play it on more modern. Consoles,
download like the PlayStation Store and stuff like
that. Yeah. I'm sure or PlayStation Now, where you can play older games. Like, I'm sure it's there.
There's been talk of possible Netflix making a TV series.
Well, I want them to fuck off and not do that.
A possible remake.
They should not do that. Leave it alone.
Also, as well, I think, you know, going off like the "Can you dig it?" That's been referenced in literally hundreds of things. Everything from The Simpsons to songs to...
Sure.
Massive. You know, it's been parodied time and time again over the years, and even spawned comics. So you don't, you know, considering it's a $4 million budget film made in 1978, like...
That's gangbusters, really.
What's that about? Like, what films...
But can I just say... Because they were on about a possible remake.
Yeah, they were.
Don't do it. Leave it alone. It's not worth it. It's honestly, whoever owns the rights to this, just leave it. Leave it in your back catalogue. Leave it alone.
It's one of them
It will avail you absolutely nothing.
I want it, but then you realise you didn't want it. You wanted it. Just leave it at that. You want it, but don't want it.
All of these themes, studio, you're not going to get away. You're not going to get away with it.
Yeah.
And if you dampen it down and make it weird, people are not going to like it. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Leave it alone.
Please.
I just have to say that. Do I want a TV series of it? No. Leave it. Maybe you could get away with a TV series.
Yeah.
Maybe. Don't make another film. And if you do make another film, make it as a fucking sequel donkeys years later. Don't make it about these people for a start.
Yeah, move on. Also, as well, while doing a bit of research for it, I realised there's an actual documentary called Rubble Kings. Rubble Kings. About the New York gangs at that time.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to look into that.
Yeah,
I'm going to download it. I'm going to look into that.
Yeah, that could be a cool.
That's what I mean. I'm like, yeah.
So, what are your final thoughts?
Final thoughts, right? So I'm going to keep it brief, to be honest with you, mate, because I think the film's absolutely great. It's definitely for me one of the best cult films ever made. But obviously, it only becomes cult over time. But yeah, I definitely could put it in the top 20, top 25 of best culty films ever made. And I'm going to give it a solid 8 out of 10 because I think it's a great film.
Right, okay.
Is it reaching to be a truly great film? Not at all. But can you stick it on and watch it at face value and enjoy it? Yes, you can. Can you switch it on and deep dive and see the themes, such as, like you were saying there, about this Greek mythology kind of, and it's in your face? Yeah, you can. And I love it for all those reasons. So I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. Super, super solid film, and I'd highly recommend it. Yeah. I've always liked it. It's a great film. So, and anyone says that it's not a great film, you're fucking wrong.
Yeah, you're wrong.
And again, Mark, I'm really surprised because I get in the vibe that you was on that train for the ride and you enjoyed it when you got off. It was like, that was a fucking great, enjoyable journey. So go on, what's your final thoughts?
Mate, I think you've just sort of perfectly said what I'm going to say. I got on not knowing anything about it, and I was like, okay, film, show me what you've got. And I came out at the end, I was smiling, I felt happy, felt a little bit a little bit weird, and it was cool. That came out of it. It was a cool film.
Yeah,
I don't know how else to describe it. Can I see myself this being like one of my favourite films? Yeah, I could. I need to watch it a few more times, get a bit more acquainted with it. Like I say, guys, I've watched it once.
Yeah, first one.
And wow, I really enjoyed it. Wow, there was so much to talk about. There were themes that I really loved. There were. This film just don't get made anymore. No. They don't make films like this. And is it weird? Is it problematic? Yeah, absolutely. And I can totally see why someone could watch it and not particularly enjoy it.
Yeah, me too.
But if you haven't seen it, just go and see this film. Go and just find it. Won't be hard. Just find it.
Yeah. I mean, it's on. I watched it on Now TV on Sky Movies through Now TV, and it's on there and that. So just a quick one as well.
Well, I'm also gonna say 8 out of 10.
Okay.
8 out of 10. Wow, solid. I really enjoyed myself.
Solid.
Wow. And I don't think it'd be fair to give it a 9 for the simple fact I don't know it well enough yet. But 8 out of 10. What a solid 100%. Film. What a solid film.
Solid gold.
Solid gold.
Solid gold, that's what it is. So yeah, no, I mean, I was really, really interested to hear your thoughts on it, and I'm glad you really enjoyed it, mate. I'm glad you went in and you've seen it for exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that you would. So I think that wraps up today's show, mate.
I think that wraps up The Warriors.
Up The Warriors. So guys, thanks for joining us on today's show. We hope you've enjoyed yourselves. We hope you keep coming back and giving us support. Again, we're on Facebook with The Vault of Cult. If you search for groups on Facebook, The Vault of Cult. If you go on that Instagrams, if you do @The Vault of Cult, you'll find us there. And again, get us on the emails at The Vault of Cult @gmail.com. Yeah, suggestions, support, feedback.
Yeah, say what you want to say, guys.
Yeah,
just let us know.
Let us know you're out there.
Yeah.
Love the support. So it's goodbye from me.
And me.
And we'll see you down the road.
Bye.